The series begins with a group of students celebrating their last day of high school. We learn that their school is located on a remote island, and the principal informs them that the last boat leaving the island will depart at 6 p.m., so everyone can get ready and head back home. We see a student named Joey walking over to his friend Cram, telling him that a group of their classmates decided to stay one extra day on the island because there will be a lunar eclipse that night. They plan to throw a graduation party and stay up to watch it together. Cram is happy about the idea and tells Joey he'll finish his shift at the restaurant and then join them at the party. When the party begins, the students are having fun, dancing, drinking, and enjoying themselves, while Cram is sitting in a car with his father, who gives him a graduation gift, an old, antique dagger. Cram is confused by the strange gift, but his father tells him that the dagger was left to him by Cram's real father, who asked him to pass it on one day. We learn that Cram was adopted years ago. Cram is surprised because his father had told him before that he never met his biological father, so the man explains that he recorded everything in a voice message he sent to Cram. Cram admits that he got busy with school and never listened to it. Suddenly, they both hear a loud noise in the distance, followed by a strong tremor. Moments later, they see the sea level rise rapidly toward them. Cram tries to drive away fast, but the water surrounds the car. His father hits his head, loses consciousness, and eventually drowns as the flood takes over. 25 days pass after the tsunami, and the island is shown in ruins. We find out that only 36 students survived, and since then, they've been living off the fish that Cram catches from the sea every day. They divided the school classrooms among themselves, each living in a separate room, still wondering why no one has come to rescue them, especially since their families know exactly where the island is. Some of them begin to suspect that the tsunami might have hit the entire world and that their families might be dead. One student asks Cram how he's still alive even though the water surrounded his car and his father drowned beside him. Cram replies that he doesn't remember anything and has no idea what happened that day. Then we see a girl named Arisa holding a bag containing all the students' phones, trying to find a signal so they can contact someone, but she fails. She then talks to Joey and Anon, telling them they should be honest with everyone and admit that they haven't been able to find a signal anywhere on the island. Anon hesitates, afraid the truth will crush everyone's hope. Meanwhile, we see a girl named May, who has some basic medical knowledge because she's passionate about the field and reads about it often. May is in the school's medical room, trying to treat a boy named Jack, whose leg was injured during the tsunami and still hasn't healed. Sitting beside him is his friend Crit, who promises he won't leave until Jack gets better. Later, we see Jan, Jack's sister, thanking May and telling her that without her medical skills, Jack probably wouldn't have survived. After that, May heads back to continue reading her medical book from the school library. Cram sees May, and she tells him she urgently needs antibiotics because Jack's leg is badly infected and could get worse. Cram assures her he'll handle it, and we learn that he knows the island better than anyone else because he was born and raised there. Meanwhile, a group of students finds a box that washed ashore and think it's full of video games. Arisa laughs and tells them it's actually a tape player, but it's broken. She says she'll try to fix it. Ice interrupts her, asking about his phone, so Anand finally admits that they still haven't found any signal anywhere. The other students start shouting angrily at him, but Joey steps in to calm everyone down. He asks them for just 5 more days and promises that if they don't find a signal by then, everyone will get their phones back. The group reluctantly agrees. Later, Cram and Joey head to the village chief's house because Cram knows the place well and believes they'll find all the medicine they need there. As they search the house, they start talking, and we find out that Cram has secretly liked May for a long time, but is too shy to tell her. After collecting the medicine, as they're leaving, Joey notices a small boat stuck high up on a rock, likely carried there by the tsunami. He tells Cram this boat could be their last hope for getting off the island. The two climb the rock to try to bring the boat down, but Joey slips and falls hard, injuring himself. Cram quickly rushes him to May so she can treat him. Checking her medical book, May realizes Joey has a broken rib and that she needs to insert a needle to remove the air trapped in his lung, but it's her first time doing such a procedure, and she's terrified. Cram encourages May and tells her she's the only one who can help him. She hesitates for a moment, then approaches Joey to give him the injection, but tragically, his life ends before she can save him. Cram breaks down, devastated by the death of his friend, while May is overwhelmed with guilt, blaming herself for what happened. Later, Cram goes to Anand and insists they need to work together to bring the boat down from the rocks, but Anand objects, saying the nearest coast is over 100 kilometers away, and the boat would never survive the trip. When Joey's funeral takes place, Anand uses seizes the moment, with everyone gathered, to present Kram's idea about the boat, but claims it as his own. He tells the group that he's only thinking of their safety and wants to save them before it's too late. Kram is shocked and angered, realizing that Anon is jealous and desperate for attention, wanting everyone to trust and follow him instead. After the funeral, Arisa announces that there's no longer any hope of finding a signal, so Anon hands everyone their phones back so they can use whatever battery remains. Each student quietly scrolls through old photos of their families, their faces filled with longing and sadness, wishing they could return home. Kram takes his phone and listens to the voice message his adoptive father mentioned before he died. In the message, his father begins revealing the truth about Kram's real origins and where he came from, but suddenly, the phone dies, leaving Kram in confusion. Moments later, a powerful tremor shakes the island, followed by a deafening noise that causes everyone to panic. Kram loses consciousness and sees a vision of a woman standing at a distance, holding a baby. He tries to move closer, but branches grow from the trees, wrapping tightly around him and strangling him. Then, he wakes up suddenly to find Nam beside him, assuring him it was just a nightmare. The next day, all the students gather to discuss what happened the night before. Everyone tries to come up with theories until Nam interrupts, saying she feels there's something strange about the island and that none of what's happening is normal. Ice mocks her in front of everyone, telling her to go take a sedative and calm down. Feeling humiliated, Nam walks away, leaving them behind. Anon then talks to the group again, reminding them about what he said yesterday regarding the boat. He insists they need to bring it down from the rocks as soon as possible so they can sail home. Ice mocks him, saying he probably just can't survive without his mother since he always depended on her for everything. Anon looks embarrassed as memories of his past flash back. He was once the leader of his school orchestra, and his father was strict and demanding, scolding him over the smallest mistakes. His mother, on the other hand, was kind and supportive, always encouraging him to pursue what he loved. Later, we see Ice and his girlfriend Ying swimming in the lake. We find out Ying isn't actually one of their classmates. She came to the island because Ice invited her to the graduation party. Suddenly, she notices something strange. The lake water begins to heat up until it's almost boiling. They rush back and tell the others what happened. Afterward, Ying goes to Arisa to get some ointment for her burns and finds her working on fixing the broken tape player they discovered earlier. We learn that Arisa is incredibly skilled with electronics and phones, to the point that most of her classmates used to see her as antisocial since she rarely interacted with them, which led to constant bullying. Meanwhile, Kram has a wound on his back and goes to May for treatment. She's nervous and hesitant because she's lost confidence in herself after Joey's death and still feels guilty. Kram comforts her, talking softly to ease her tension. He tells her about his life, how his father owned a boat and worked as a fisherman, and how he learned to fish from him. Back with Arisa and Ying, the two girls start bonding and become close friends, spending more time together on the island. Arisa finally manages to get the device working. The group finds a tape with it, so she plays it, and they all listen carefully. Arisa guesses that it's a recording of a very old Thai poem. Ying suggests they go to the library to find the poem and confirm it, so they head there and actually locate it. They discover it's the same poem recorded on the tape, a story about a kingdom that fell into corruption before a massive flood destroyed everything. But Arisa notices something odd. The verses aren't in order, and they start wondering why. Meanwhile, the rest of the students use a long rope to successfully lower the boat from the rocks, but when they inspect it, they find a hole in the hull, meaning it will take time to fix, leaving everyone frustrated. Anon remembers the day of his orchestra performance, the one that failed and crushed his confidence, making him stop playing music ever since. Snapping back to the present, he notices how hopeless everyone looks, so he decides to play the piano again to give them strength. His music lifts the group's spirits, and for the first time in a while, they feel a bit of peace. During this, May sits beside him, and we learn that they're in a relationship. Kram watches them from afar, clearly hurt because he secretly loves her. Suddenly, a strange woman appears in the distance, walking toward them weakly before collapsing unconscious. When they rush to help, they're shocked to realize she's Lynn, their teacher. They carry her to the school's infirmary, and May stays by her side, confused as to how Lynn is still alive when they've searched the island many times and found no one else. Later that night, May and Anon are together and end up getting intimate. Afterward, May opens up, telling him she's always dreamed of becoming a singer. Anon laughs softly and says it doesn't suit her at all. His words cut deep. May feels humiliated and heartbroken, so she quietly gets up and leaves him behind. The students gather again, and Cram tells them that the boat can only carry 10 people, so they need to choose a small group to sail to the nearest coast and bring back help for the rest. May interrupts, insisting that Jack must be one of the 10 because his condition is getting worse and none of the treatments are helping anymore. The others ask Cram if he can captain the boat, and he admits that while he watched his father steer boats, he's never actually sailed one himself. Anand seizes the moment to embarrass him and prove himself, lying to everyone and claiming he knows how to handle boats. The group agrees to let him lead, and they decide the remaining 8 people will be chosen by drawing lots. When they try to start the boat's engine, they're shocked to find it's broken, so they agree to turn it into a sailboat instead. Meanwhile, Ice is seen taking drugs, clearly upset about something. Nam passes by and senses he's hiding something, but he denies it and tells her to stay away. Later, Ying confronts him angrily, reminding him of the last time he used drugs and nearly died. Ice snaps at her and yells for her to leave him alone. Around the same time, Jan gathers her friends and asks everyone to donate their clothes so they can sew them together to make a sale. Most of them refuse, saying their clothes are expensive designer brands. Jan yells at them, then rips her own clothes to set an example. Eventually, everyone follows her lead, and they start stitching their clothes together. While working, Arisa suggests that a few people should go help repair the boat, but one of the students mocks her, saying she only knows about phones and should just stay quiet. Hurt, Arisa walks away, feeling rejected and unappreciated. Ying notices what happened and goes after her to cheer her up. The two start discussing the strange poem they found and try to make sense of the numbered verses. Arisa realizes she's seen those numbers before and remembers that the school's location is at a latitude that matches the numbers in the poem. Ying guesses there might be a treasure buried beneath the school, but Arisa explains that the recording is over 100 years old, while the school was built only 20 years ago. Then Arisa recalls something Joey told her before he died, that there was once a wireless communication tower built on the island during World War II, though no one has ever found it. She starts to think that the numbers might actually be coordinates for that tower. Determined, Arisa decides to go search for it alone, marking trees along the way so she doesn't lose her path. Back at the camp, Jack's condition worsens, his infection spreading through his leg, and no one can help him. In contrast, Lynn starts to recover and slowly regains consciousness. May sits beside her and asks where she has been all this time, since no one had seen her since before the tsunami and everyone thought she had left the island. Lynn explains that when the tsunami struck, she was deep in the forest and got lost, unable to find her way out. Just then, a group of students rushes in carrying Ice, who has collapsed after overdosing. While everyone focuses on him, Anand takes the opportunity to approach Lynn. He tells her that if she wants to return to her villa, it's still standing. It's one of the few houses built on high ground, untouched by the water. Lynn agrees, and Anand walks her there. When they arrive, she enters and shuts the door in his face. Meanwhile, Arisa keeps walking deeper into the forest, marking every tree she passes so she doesn't lose her way. As Arisa walks through the forest, she suddenly sees her friend Mint from school standing in front of her. She's shocked because Mint had said she was leaving before the party. Mint explains that she changed her mind at the last minute, didn't leave, and after the tsunami, she got lost in the forest and couldn't find her way out. She also tells Arisa that she isn't alone. There are more people with her, and that they've found the transmission tower. She claims that a rescue boat is coming for them in 3 days. Back at the infirmary, Ice begins to regain consciousness, and we learn that he has a heart condition and a pacemaker that needs to be replaced within a year. May advises him to start taking better care of himself, but Ice snaps at her and storms off. Meanwhile, Lynn is sitting with Cram, looking at his sketches of the strange images he sees in his dreams. She tells him that these visions must mean something, that he's seen them before, and urges him to remember where and what message they're trying to convey. Later, Ice goes to talk to Nam, telling her he's felt different ever since the tsunami and asking her to use her strange spiritual abilities to help him. Ying overhears their conversation, and together with Nam, they decide to prank him by pretending he's possessed by an evil spirit. Nam tells him she can help, and they begin performing fake exorcism rituals on him. But things take a dark turn when Ice starts acting dazed and begins confessing what really happened the day of the tsunami. He had accidentally hit a woman with his car on the way to the party. He wanted to turn himself in, but his father stopped him to protect his future. Since then, Ice has been consumed by guilt. Both Nam and Ying are stunned and feel terrible for mocking him. Nam tries to comfort him, assuring him that he's fine now and that the evil spirit has left his body. The next day, Lin learns that Arisa and Ying listened to the recording and managed to find the poem. She becomes visibly tense and immediately questions them, asking what exactly they discovered. Ying tells her they didn't figure out much and that Arisa has been in the forest since then, searching for the transmission tower. Lin panics, grabs the recorder, and storms off. Nam and Ying are confused when they hear another part of the tape playing, a section that mentions a mysterious cave on the island, one they've never seen before. Back in the forest, Arisa and Mint continue walking together, talking about their past. Arisa apologizes for hacking Mint's account before, explaining that she only did it because Mint had stolen her boyfriend. Mint angrily yells back, saying her boyfriend cheated on Arisa willingly because no one can stand to be with her anyway. Mint's behavior suddenly becomes violent. She sprays something in Arisa's eyes, blinding her. Arisa screams for help, stumbling backward until she falls off a rock and injures her leg. After a while, she opens her eyes again and realizes it was all a hallucination. There was never anything on her face, and Mint doesn't exist at all. Back at the beach, Cram asks May to spend the day with him by the shore. They begin to open up to each other, and he asks her to sing for him. May lights up with happiness. It's the first time someone has shown genuine interest in her talent. The two grow closer, and that night they share an intimate moment together, falling asleep under the stars. The next morning they return to camp only to find out that Jack has died. Everyone is devastated at the funeral. Later, May goes back to her room, still shaken. Anand confronts her, asking where she's been, saying he went to the clinic and didn't find her there. May grows nervous and lies, saying she wasn't feeling well and went to her room early. Anand realizes that May is lying to him because he went to her room that same night, and she wasn't there either. But he decides not to confront her. May starts remembering her past, and we learn that she was once a popular girl who made money performing, using her earnings to help her mother after her father stopped supporting them. Days pass as the students keep working on fixing the boat and stitching the sail. One day, Lin sends a message to Anand asking to meet him. When he arrives, she warns him not to let anyone leave the island, insisting that a huge storm is coming, and that if they set sail, they'll all die, and he will be responsible for their deaths. Anand is shocked by her words and refuses to listen, telling her this boat is their last hope and he won't give it up. He returns to the others, and they begin the lottery to choose the 10 people who will go on the boat. Crom and Arisa are among the 10 selected. Anand says that if Arisa doesn't return from the forest before the day they leave, her spot will be given to someone else. Meanwhile, Lin grows desperate to stop the boat at any cost. She goes to Crit and tells him she knows the truth about what he did, that Jack didn't die naturally, but that Crit ended his life. Shocked, Crit tries to explain himself, saying Jack begged him to do it because he couldn't handle the pain anymore. Lin coldly warns him that if he doesn't stop the boat, she'll go to the authorities and expose him once they get off the island. Crom, feeling torn, decides to give up his spot on the boat for May. She thanks him for his kindness, but refuses, telling him that he's the only one who truly understands the sea and must go to protect the group. She adds softly that she'll be waiting for him to come back and save her. Meanwhile, two students, Nat and Jan, decide to go into the forest to look for Arisa, though secretly, they hope not to find her, so her place on the boat will become available for one of them. Later, May confronts Anand and tells him they need to break up. She tries to explain that she no longer feels the same way, but he refuses to accept it, reminding her of the promises she made to him before. He pressures her to stay with him, at least until they get off the island. That night, Crit, haunted by guilt and Lin's threats, decides to burn the boat. As he sneaks out, Crom, who's awake and working nearby, spots him. Cornered, Crit breaks down and confesses everything, explaining that he's scared of going to prison. Crom stops him and promises they'll find another way to deal with it, preventing him from destroying the boat. Crit goes back to his room, overcome with guilt over Jack's death. Soon after, Jan, Jack's sister, enters his room, and while they're talking, she notices a strange medicine bottle beside his bed. Crit confesses everything again, saying her brother begged him to end his suffering. Jan collapses emotionally upon hearing this and rushes to tell the others, demanding that Crit be punished because they can't let a killer live among them. Most of the group disagrees, saying they can't turn on one of their own. Furious, Jan gives up her spot on the boat to someone else so they can help her lock Crit up. They eventually trap him and threaten to harm anyone who tries to help him escape. Back at the shore, Crom is working on the boat, fixing the last parts, when suddenly the island shakes violently, and that same eerie, thunderous sound fills the air. Crom loses his balance, falls off the boat, and loses consciousness. He dreams again of the mysterious woman holding a baby by the lake. As he tries to move closer to see her face, Nam wakes him up just before he can. She notices that every time Cram wakes up, the strange sound stops, and she tells him that there must be something special about him, something tied to their destiny that they'll soon uncover. Back in the forest, we see Nat and Jan completely exhausted, deciding to rest for a while. But when they wake up the next morning, they're shocked. The place around them has changed completely. They find themselves on top of a massive rock inside a cave. Even more surprising, they spot Arisa nearby. When they ask how she got there, she tells them she's been stuck there for 2 days since she last saw them. The two laugh, saying she's been gone for over 2 weeks, thinking she must be hallucinating or on something. But Arisa insists she hasn't eaten since she left them, and if 2 weeks had really passed, she would be dead by now. Confused and unsettled, none of them can explain what's happening. Back at the camp, a week has passed since Crit's imprisonment. Crom tries to convince John to let him out, but she refuses. Nam grows suspicious of Lynn's strange behavior, telling her she's changed and that their real teacher would never turn her back on a student in need. Meanwhile, Ice visits Ying to apologize for how he treated her last time. To make it up to her, he offers her his spot on the boat, knowing how much she misses her mother. Ying is touched and accepts, thanking him. Later, Crom talks to Lynn and asks why she doesn't want them to leave. Lynn tells him that they can all go, except him. She explains that the island is called Bintha, meaning the gate, and that he won't be able to leave until he finds the gate hidden somewhere on the island. Meanwhile, May is sitting in her room, completely broken, after discovering she's pregnant. She's terrified because she doesn't know who the father is. Anand walks in, and May tearfully tells him she's pregnant, but doesn't mention her relationship with Cram, afraid that Anand might hurt them both. Determined to take her with him, Anand starts offering a huge reward to anyone willing to give up their seat on the boat, promising to pay them when they return. But no one agrees. Back in the cave, Arisa hears a faint sound echoing from the distance and tells Nat and Jan they need to follow it. It might lead somewhere important. They walk deeper and deeper until they see a bright light ahead. As they step forward, they find themselves back at their high school graduation party, completely stunned and speechless. Everyone is there, laughing, celebrating, and greeting them warmly. The three wander around, confused and amazed, until suddenly all the people vanish. The music stops and silence fills the air. At the same time, Nam is asleep in her room and dreams of Lynn handing her a glowing light. We learn that Nam has always had visions that come true. She once dreamt of her father's car accident the night before it happened. Realizing this dream is another warning, she senses Lynn is trying to send her a message, and that message has something to do with Crom. Meanwhile, May decides she can't hide the truth anymore and confesses to Anon about her relationship with Crom. Anon is devastated and furious, telling her he won't let anyone take her away from him. Driven by jealousy and fear of losing her, he decides to escape the island with her that night. While everyone else is asleep, he ties May's hands and prepares the boat to sail away. Some of the students notice the noise and rush toward the dock, confronting him. To calm them down, Anand shouts that anyone who helps him push the boat can come along, even if they weren't chosen in the lottery. They all jump aboard, and Anand starts the boat, sailing away as fast as he can. Cram wakes up, realizes what's happening, and sprints toward the shore to save May. Just as he gets close to the water, something inexplicable happens. Fiery orbs appear in the sky and begin hurling toward the boat, setting it ablaze in a storm of fire. May rushes the injured survivors to the clinic, desperately trying to save their lives. Meanwhile, deep inside the cave, the three students continue exploring until Arisa finally locates the source of the strange sound. To her shock, she discovers a sick woman trapped inside, calling weakly for help. As Arisa approaches, she realizes it's Lynn, their teacher. Just as they reach her, the tunnel opens up to an exit, and they find themselves back on the beach. They hurry to the others to get May's help for Lynn's condition. But when they arrive, they're stunned to see another Lynn already there, sitting with the group. There are now 2 Lynns, and no one can tell which one is real. The first Lynn realizes what's happening and runs away. A few students chase her until Crom finds her. She tells him that he's special. That's why he and his father survived the tsunami that should have killed them both. Cram tells her he doesn't remember anything from that day. The others catch up, thinking Cram was hiding her, and they start throwing stones at him. Suddenly, the same deafening sound echoes again, and Cram slips back into his vision. This time, he finally sees the woman holding the baby. She's his mother. He recognizes her face clearly before the noise stops, and he regains consciousness. Lynn turns to him and says if he truly wants to know who he is, he must jump into the water with her. Cram hesitates for a moment, then dives in after her. The next morning, Cram wakes up to find himself captured and locked in a room with Crit. We learn that Anand has formed a gang with several students, planning to kill the other Lynn, whom they blame for ruining all their escape plans. Meanwhile, Cram's friends devise a plan to rescue him. They distract the guards watching the room, and once the coast is clear, Cram and Crit manage to escape. Crom runs off with May, trying to find a hiding place, but Anand catches them and aims to kill Crom. In the chaos, May stabs Anan in the shoulder with a fishing spear, and the two flee, but suddenly, May vanishes. Crom turns around to find Lin standing before him again, telling him to come with her into the cave so she can reveal the truth about his family. At the same time, Anan captures May and drags her in front of everyone, shouting that she's pregnant with his child. Meanwhile, Crom follows Lin deep into the cave, where she explains that hidden gateways exist beneath the earth, scattered across the world and connected to each other. She tells him that beneath this cave lies one of those gates. Crom takes the chance to ask her about the vision, if the woman he saw carrying a baby was truly his mother, and if she really tried to end her life. Lin tells him the truth. His mother didn't try to kill herself. She went into the lake carrying him to cross through the gate beneath the water. Determined to uncover the truth, Crom dives into the lake to find the gate. The moment he enters, the ground trembles violently, rocks collapse, sealing every exit, and Crom loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he's no longer in the present. He's reliving the day his mother carried him through the gate. He realizes this was the same day his adoptive father decided to take him in, and that his real father was there too, giving the dagger to be passed to Crom when he grew up. Crom then wakes up again, this time back in the lake. He sees an opening ahead, swims toward it, and emerges from the water, finding himself in a completely different place, far from the cave. Confused, he looks around and sees a sign that reads, "You are now at the highest point in Thailand." Shocked and disoriented, Crom stumbles forward and spots a mask lying on the ground with the word "fool" written on it. Suddenly, a group of teenagers appears, walking toward him. To his astonishment, among them are Joey, his best friend who had died, and May, the girl he loved. Crom freezes, unable to understand what's happening, how Joey could still be alive, and whether everything that happened on the island was real or just a part of his mind. And with that mysterious cliffhanger, the story ends, leaving us waiting for Season 2 to uncover the truth behind the Stranded.